Hey folks, Michael here with Raccoon City Pinball. I'm here today testing out the new firmware on the Accsoon CineMaster 4K. This is a wireless transmitter that allegedly can do 4K P60, and the difference here from the latest version, from the previous version, is that we can now do H.265 instead of 264. And H.265, it's a much more efficient codec. It sends like it's higher quality in like all different kind of aspects that we care about at this time, right? So it can send more information over the wire and therefore reduce a lot of the compression artifacts and stuff like that, and that is obviously a point of comparison here we're going to look at. I also want to caveat, like the Accsoon 4K, CineMaster 4K, it is capped at 12 megabits per second, right? So you cannot expect any magic to come out of this, right? They need to triple that bandwidth to have a satisfactory kind of 4K transmission that we can use for pinball. But yeah, I'm not going to be ranting about that too much. Let's just dig into it and have a look at it, right? So what I've done here is sort of like I have my reference footage right down below here. The H.264 is like, so this was basically before the upgrade, right? So the upgrade, I think the version is like 3.30 or something like that, right? So I ran this test first, and then I upgraded it and switched to the 265 codec, and both the transmitter and the receiver needs to be able to do H.265, so they are on the same version, right? I'm just gonna let this kind of rip here, so kind of have a mark here where a multi-ball starts, and this is kind of where we see most of the kind of action being carried out, right? So at the end of the day, like there is a lot of compression here, right? Because at the end of the day, so kind of explain a little bit of the aspect ratios here and what is kind of what we're actually looking at. So the bottom here is a 1080p recording that I'm replaying from my recorder, right? So it's the app, like it's been recorded on the same device, or it's playing back from the same device it was recorded on, so it's absolutely pristine from that perspective. And the H.264 and H.265, it's kind of replayed through the recorder over the transmitter into OBS, where I basically overlaid like an actual gameplay overlay with pinball, right? So it's basically so how to put this? It's a 1080p kind of capture in part of the a larger kind of canvas, so to speak, right? So let me just show you what that actually looks like here, right? So what I'm actually capturing, so I'm just going to pull this in here, right? So this is basically what's going over the wire, right? So this is what is going through the air, and this is sort of then chopped up in OBS, right? So you see the play field here has then been rotated and then shrunk down to 1080. What is it? 540, I think the correct resolution is of it, and that is basically what we're looking at in these frames here. So this is a 1080 540 in the middle and the top here, right? So this obviously been scaled. It's been scaled down, and here we've scaled it up like 4 times, almost 5 times, I'd say, right? And that is just to kind of see the compression artifacts, what it actually looks like when we run this through Twitch. And at a first glance, it doesn't look like there's that much of a difference, but once you kind of get the multi-ball action going here with all the flashing lights, if you kind of pay attention to some of the artifacts that renders in this particular area around the ramp here, right, there are some kind of midtones here that kind of looks doesn't look very good on the H.264, right? So I'd say that it's not a vast improvement, but it's an improvement enough to kind of like really consider this as a viable solution, right? Because they're not as distinct, right? And if we kind of like pull it up, like how it was rendered, something like this. So this would be the actual size of the playfield that I captured in OBS, right? And if we kind of just run this, yes, start at the multi-ball here. And here it's like the area that if you kind of look at it holistically, it's somehow like they both struggle with this area here, right? It looks like it gets really grainy and really shows some really nasty artifacts, right, in the side here for some reason. I don't know exactly what that is, but you can see on the 265 it looks kind of slightly better, right? Let's see here. Yeah, it kind of flutters out a lot on the H.264, and while the H.265 kind of makes it look a little bit better. Some of the other things that you can look at is also like how Yoda's, again, the midtone, right? And it kind of looks a little bit wrecked. And if you look at his kind of suit while it's rendering here, right? It kind of just completely kind of swaths out. I'm in the way on the yeah, I don't know why I'm talking about that, because I'm sitting with my big face over that. But yeah, you can compare it to the reference anyway. Let's. So what else is? Yeah, so there's another thing. Yeah, let's just let it rip here. Another thing that's very interesting with the Accsoon, and it's not. I don't think it's just the CineMaster. I think it's the other ones as well, like the CineView and the CineView. I can't remember the other one that I had. And it's the frame stutter, right? That just won't go away, right? And I'm really confused by like why that is an issue this far down in this product line, right? So we can like. It doesn't seem to really matter where you are, right? So if we kind of pause here a little bit, then we kind of step frame by frame, and you know, you see get some balls out on the playfield. So we see some motion. Here we go. So we're stepping frame by frame here, kind of keeping track of the balls. Yeah, so here we go, right? So if you look at the H.265, right, there we have a frame stutter. We're stuck on the same frame, while you can see the reference in the 264 is fine, right? But the thing is that the 264 will stutter here as well. There we go, right? There we go. There's a stutter, right? We got a frame stutter, right? And it's... And I don't know exactly why this is. The reference footage is obviously proper. There's another stutter in a 264. And I mean, this shouldn't happen. There's another stutter in a 264. Yeah, and there we have a stutter in a 265. Almost like the same frame, right? I mean, it's just so odd, right? And did we have another one that, yeah, 265 is locked there. Another stutter immediately after, right? And at the end of the day, like it's not the end of the day, right? Because you kind of look at it with your bare eye, and it kind of looks smooth, right? All right, it's a little bit choppy now because I'm kind of capturing the screen at the same time, right? And I think that's what we've seen some artifacts of right now. But like at the end of the day, it does look smooth while I'm not recording the screen. Yeah, this looks pretty terrible, actually. Sorry about that. But yeah, so it's at the end of the day, Accsoon has not kind of like addressed the frame stuttering, right? And at the end of the day, like for the application, Accsoon is they're meant for monitoring. They're not meant for broadcasting, as we're doing here, right? So and while you're monitoring, like making sure you have the framing right, and you got the color and the focus, and you kind of grabbing the details that you want, whatnot, right? I mean, it's not meant for broadcasting, right? So I give that to them. Oh yeah, it's the fan on my laptop is just boiling right now. At the end of the day, it's just there's a slight improvement in the codec. The thing is, because of the stuttering, like I'm sort of like, I kind of want to use this solution for my kind of tournament streaming and kind of wireless streaming, right? I want to be able to put my multi-viewer on a single Accsoon and be done with it, right? I really, 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 really want to, right? But the thing is that the compression artifacts, they've vastly improved. I would actually consider kind of switching over to the now when we have the 265 with 12 megabits. It's sort of like, it's not ideal, but it might have been good enough, right? But just because the frame stuttering, it's just like, I mean, we can't have that, right? And I don't know if there's anything that would kind of make it better or worse, you know. This was not recorded in kind of ideal line of sight kind of conditions, because I was kind of sitting in my kitchen recording this while the recorder was out doing the playback in my arcade, right? So. And that's not ideal, because there's obviously something in the way. But at the end of the day, like when I run tournament, I run it in very cramped spaces. There are multiple walls, doors, and whatnot in the way. So the thing is, it needs to work with walls and obstructions and God knows what, right? And that the NDI solution that I have today, there's no frame stuttering, it's perfect, right? It just kind of loses track of audio sometimes, easily resettable during runtime without too many disruptions, right? And that's the kind of like the drawback I have to live with. And it also draws a lot of power, like that is the other downside of it. So I really want to get out of that business and kind of have this simple, just as a simple HDMI transmitter, receiver, 4K P60, and be done with it. But here we are. Yeah. Anyhow, that's all for me today. Just want to kind of put it out there while I'm going through the hoops of testing this and looking at it and seriously considering it, and might be helpful to others who's going down this path, right? And at the end of the day, if you were running like 3 pairs of these and you would squeeze that down a 12 megabit, you could probably go down to 1080p instead, right? And it would look absolutely fine. You would still have the frame stuttering, but yeah, I wonder, like, if you were running 3 in 1080p with this bandwidth 265, you might not get frame stutters. Who knows? Cheers.